Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Combat Conversations, and I'm your boy AG, and I'm back with my mans again, who wasn't even giving the respect to the Gypsy King, wasn't giving my mans his due, says he was gonna go up in there all 12 rounds. Dillian Whyte wasn't gonna, he's gonna push him to the limits, and I said nah. He was gonna knock his ass out. You know what? I thought it would be a little bit later, break him down, but essentially what I said was gonna happen. Good stoppage. So put some respect on my man. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and introduce my partner, which I forgot about. My man DB up in the building.
That's not what I said at all.
All right, my man DB up in the building. You know what I'm saying? Say hi to the folks.
Bruh, that's not how it went down.
Well, then explain to me how it went down because of the last episode.
On the last episode, I thought Fury was going to be slick and basically outpoint Dillian Whyte, and that's what he was doing up until he knocked him the fuck out.
Well, that's my point, because you thought Dillian Whyte was going to push him all the way to the 12 and that Fury was just going to outpoint him just like he did. But I knew that shit was going to come. David Hayes' prediction on that shit, Dillian Whyte with the toughest chin and the stamina, that shit was... Did Tyson Fury put on a clinic?
I mean, oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, he did. Hey, but now who you really should feel bad for, Derek Chisora, said he would put his house up, saying that Whyte would get the knockout.
Oh, wow. So Derek Chisora is out of a house if he went ahead and made that
homeless.
Bet. He's homeless. That's why he's looking for another big fight so he can come back and buy his own house back. So, Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury, heavyweight championship on the line, WBC, lineal belt, and your WBC union belt on the line, which was a dope ass visual looking belt, by the way. That white belt was pretty clean. It was fresh.
No, it was pretty. Belt. It was pretty. It was clean, fresh. It was nice.
As you allude to, the boxing version of the BMF belt.
I mean, am I wrong?
But in this case, it was the baddest motherfucker over there in the UK.
And even though Tyson Fury is the baddest motherfucker over there in the UK.
Baddest man on the planet.
I agree.
Yeah, baddest man on the planet. So before we get into a lot of hot news coming up, championship fights, this is where it's at. This is where you want to be. When it comes to takes and opinions, Combat Conversations has got you covered when it comes to championship boxing and MMA. AG and my man DB over here, we got you, baby. So please don't make sure y'all like, subscribe, check us out, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that. But before we get into the fight, let's just spend a little time on the two fantasy fights real quick. Tommy Fury, Jake Paul, and Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou.
Okay.
So let's start with Tommy Fury first real quick. Tommy Fury on the undercard of Big Bro's card, okay? Now,
He looked nice.
He did. Now, I'm always joking about how Tommy Fury's a pretty boy. He's got insurance on his face. Because if anything goes wrong, I think if his boxing career doesn't pan out,
he'll be one of those British TV personalities.
Tommy Fury's going to be all right.
Either way, look, this man's he ain't losing a dime.
No, not at all. And he's already certified. Tyson Fury being his brother, do talks. Tommy Fury's a great guy, okay? With that being said, he did look good tonight. Tommy Fury, to me, is a very fluid boxer. He's got the mechanics down. You could see it. If you watch the fight, you could actually see that Tommy Fury has the mechanics to be a good boxer. He's fluid with the combinations, 1-2, attacks the body really well. It's just now he's in the same boat as his buddy Jake Paul. We need to see you fight better competition in trash cans.
Well, okay, first of all, if his last name wasn't Fury, I don't think he's getting the kind of training that Tommy Fury's getting compared to other fighters who are his caliber.
Right, and I'm not even sure. It was the first fight on the pay-per-view card, kind of, checking around, engaging with the listeners. I didn't even see, which now that I think about it, I know he wasn't, because I alluded to that. I tweeted about that. It's always awkward when the boxer in the ring is listening to somebody outside the ring and is turned to the left or the right listening while the trainer is just sitting there waiting for the motherfucking boxer to finish talking to whoever's outside the ring. It looks awkward as shit. Who's the trainer in that situation?
Well, I mean, it's Fury. Last name is Fury, so you know it's John Fury.
Well, that's essentially who he was talking to and listening to.
But I mean, who else? What other family would do that besides the Furies? Besides the Furies?
The Davis and the Mayweather family.
Did I already forget Teofimo Lopez's dad, his pappy?
Well, listen, to that point, Tio's pappy's in the ring. He's listening to him face to face. But you get my point. Is the fighters listening to somebody on the outside, like when Mayweather came up and he's trying to talk to him outside the ring, and the trainer's like, listen to me. You're right here with me. Like, listen. And the same thing with Tommy Fury. His dad's talking on the outside, but his trainer's patiently waiting.
I mean, he's just sitting there feeding him his water, you know.
That's it. All he is a cut guy. He's right alongside the cut guy, not giving no advice. All that shit's coming from John Fury on the outside the ring.
He's just there for the ride.
He's just the guy in the ring was just along for the ride. So, but again, you right. Being in the training sessions, training with his brother, probably still getting some hands-on advice with Sugar Hill, all the residuals. You could see it. Tommy Fury, to me, is a fluid boxer and has all the mechanics to be a good boxer. Okay? With that being said, how does he fare against his main rival in Jake Paul? Jake Paul, to me, is also a good boxer, but Tommy Fury looks a little bit more fluid. His combos, his left-right, it's just, if I'm judging on the sweet science scale, Tommy Fury seems to have a little bit more sweet science, natural boxing ability. Again, he's fighting a trash can, so he's gonna look good. But you see it. Jake Paul, we kind of laugh at Jake Paul's style a little bit, but he's getting better fight by fight. Well, Tommy Fury visually passes that eye test against trash cans. Now, can he pass that test against contenders?
I think he could do it against Jake. I wouldn't necessarily call Jake a contender. I mean, because remember, Jake's been doing this now for about, 3 years? 2-3 years?
Yeah, so.
You know, and, you know, Tommy Fury, he's been doing this all of his life. You know, he's been doing it with Tyson, his other brothers. You know, they're a big boxing family, so he's had, you know, better quality training for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So one would have to think, go with Tommy.
I'm leaning towards Tommy, too, in a fight. And much respect to him, Tommy Fury straight looked into the camera after the fight, said, Jake Paul, let's make this fight. Let's make this fight. Now, is he blowing smoke up our ass? That's yet to be seen.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I think Jake Paul's about that smoke.
But he's doing and saying all the right things to get the fight.
Well, and even then, let's not forget, this fight was made. Pen to paper was done.
Right.
He pulled out with an injury, so we kind of don't favor Tommy Fury in making the fight. But if he's serious about making the fight now, then Jake Paul obviously wanted to smoke. So, hey, Jake, where you at? We know you be up on Combat Conversations. Where you at, baby? Championship boxing at its finest, because that's the level he's trying to be on. But that's a fight coming up. So once that fight gets made, possibly coming up, I believe it will, because just what I said. I really feel like with this fight already being made and him pulling out last minute, you know, it is what it is on what happened, but it got far enough to make me believe that this fight will happen. So Jake Paul's just got to step up, make it happen, which he already has. Now let's just make it happen again. No problem. Tommy Fury's, call him out, Jake. Let it happen. So that fight, can't wait to see that. Once that pen gets to paper again and it's official, we'll revisit the situation, we'll revisit the conversation, and we will choose a winner. But
I already know you're rocking with Jake, so
you know I fucks with Jake. I fucks with Jake
too.
But I tell you what, Tommy Fury fought a trash can, and I'm not saying I like what I saw. Fluid 1-2 combinations against a scrub. I gave him a B-. You could say C+ performance, but
he still took out the trash.
He for the most part, he could have knocked him out, but that's why he didn't get the A and the B. is because he did drag him on, but he beat him up the whole 6 rounds. Okay, now let's visit Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou for a couple seconds. What type of fight would that be if they happen to meet in a cage, in a ring?
I think it would be similar to what they did with that triad combat. I'm not saying necessarily
I
like
think
a
Triad
triangle.
Combat 2's coming. I think so.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. But
that would be nuts because the first one was crazy.
But anyways, back to my original point. I feel like the ring would be something like that. I think they would use MMA gloves, but boxing rules. So I feel like they would try to make it as fair as possible for both Francis and Tyson. But if it's just standing up,
just stand up strikes.
I just feel like it is Tyson.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be even close.
Yeah, I agree with that, because my take on it is that Fury, he bounces, man. He's light on his feet, constantly bending his knees. And when we was watching the fight against Dillian Whyte, which we'll talk about here next, what happened in the fight, I made a comment that sometimes Tyson Fury's punches come from the top, come from bottom up and don't come from top down. He's, in other words, he's always looking to land some type of shot, even if it's not the most powerful shot in his arsenal. He's breaking you down jab style. That way, when it comes to the later rounds, he's putting him down. And Sugar Hill, Tyson Fury alluded to it, Sugar Hill has turned him into that kind of fighter.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, granted, he's only been with Sugar Hill for 3 fights. And granted, out of those 3 fights, he's only had 2 opponents, Deontay Wilder and obviously Dillian Whyte. But each fight's ended in a TKO or a knockout.
Could you say it's his 3 best performances? I mean, outside of maybe the Klitschko fight, but the way Wilder 1 went down, and for him to come back and the way he performed in 2 and 3.
I mean, even with the Klitschko fight, that was still impressive. Easy.
Right, but like you said, Sugar Hill is bringing something out of him that he wasn't before.
Right.
Tyson Fury said that. So, best trainer in boxing, Sugar Hill.
Oh, without a doubt. Easy.
Okay,
I don't remember exactly, but isn't Sugar Hill working with Nico Ali Walsh?
He had him in his corner, I believe so. So let's see if iron will sharpen iron on this. Let's see if he could come in and learn a thing or two, and Nico Ali Walsh be somebody who could be contending for titles here in the next couple years.
Mm-hmm.
So, outside the fantasy matchups, even though Jake Paul and Tommy Fury's not fantasy, that's gonna happen, which I firmly believe it will. Let's talk about the clinic that Tyson Fury just put on to Dillian Whyte. Heavyweight championship fight of the world, WBC, lineal belt on the line. The man who beat the man is the man in the ring. And as much as Tyson Fury's vibes was throwing me off, he dominated. Basically, I'm not going to say I'm the only one who thought this, but I couldn't see Dillian Whyte actually overcoming Tyson Fury. I tried to convince myself he could make it a tough fight, but I couldn't, and essentially, was right. Tyson Fury put Dillian Whyte away from the opening bell.
No, it wasn't even close. This was a masterclass performance. This was probably his best performance outside of the second Wilder fight. Like, at no point was the fight close.
Yeah, Tyson Fury, to me, early on, because remember, the first 3 rounds don't count, big dog. The first 3 rounds don't count to some people. Like, I guess, I don't know. That's another story in itself. Combat Conversations out here with folks saying that first 3 rounds.
The real fight doesn't happen until the 4th round.
Exactly. So what you have on the scorecards, first 3 rounds don't count. So, but anyway, let's talk about the exhibition rounds. Tyson Fury, it kind of feeling him out with the jab, and once he got the separation, I believe right around that 2nd round, Tyson Fury, like I said, with certain punches and the way Dillian Whyte, he was swinging a couple times for the fucking fences.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Dillian Whyte's trying to be the
Like,
body snatcher, trying to live up to the hype.
Tyson would see that arm cocked from a mile away all 3 times that Dillian tried that. Like,
and if it wasn't for the ropes, he would have went into the second row. That's how hard he's fucking swinging.
I mean, what's funny is like you had all these haters, all these trolls talk about how Dillian Whyte was that much better of a boxer than Wilder.
Correct.
But honestly, like a lot of times throughout the fight, like Dillian looked sloppy.
Very sloppy. Oh, he was definitely sloppy, but he also, like you said, supposed to be the better boxer than Wilder, but yet is showing no skill on how to overcome the height and reach advantage to get in on the inside. And if you know what he probably should have did, Dillian Whyte, is he probably should have went back and watched tape of Lubin and Fundora about a week or so ago on the 16th and how Lubin got in on the inside in Fundora. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Tyson Fury's Fundora is Tyson Fury or vice versa. But you got to have a blueprint on how to get on the inside of somebody who's got a 7-inch fucking reach advantage on you. And Dillian Whyte showed no expertise in that.
I mean, certainly his fight IQ, it's not there. But, and I think it's funny because like literally right after the fight, you start to see people calling Wilder the second best heavyweight in the division.
Tyson Fury has called Wilder the second best heavyweight. He thinks he beats them all. But again, you're gonna hear that from Tyson Fury, because to me, with him going to battle in the distance, not the distance, you get what I'm saying, but battling it out all these rounds with him for 3 fights and I beat him, you gotta make it seem like I beat the best. Everybody's gonna say you beat bums and bums. Yeah, you gotta talk up your guys. Like, you know, with Tio, if I'll beat Kambosos, he's trash, I'll get him out the way. Okay, if you do beat him, you beat nobodies. Even to your word, at least talk your opponent up and say, hey, he's dangerous. He could be one of the best guys. And when you beat him, you can say, yup, I'm the best guy, but I'm beating other guys who are good.
I mean, that's one thing, but like when you see performances like I was expecting Dillian Whyte to be a more polished boxer, like at least give a better fight.
Much better.
And we didn't get that. Like, if anything, I was more entertained by the third Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury fight than I was by this, because it was one-sided.
If I'm being honest, I was more entertained by all 3 Wilder-Fury fights. First one's a classic, going all around. Tyson Fury climbing up off the canvas multiple times. Second fight, just the way that was the least interesting one. But again, Wilder still went in there and landed some punches that Dillian Whyte never did. And then the third one was another war, both of them getting knockdowns, and you just Tyson Fury, being the greater boxer, overcame. But Dillian Whyte, this was on top of a dog shit undercard. Tyson Fury put on a clinic, and Dillian Whyte, to me, I don't even want to say he underperformed. I guess he's overrated. Dillian Whyte was overrated. Let's just keep it all the way a buck with the folks.
You really think he's overrated?
Fuck yeah, Dillian Whyte's not. No, over fucking rated. That probably we can name.
Well, I mean,
okay,
listen, I'm asking you this because.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask you a fantasy matchup here in a second.
Before this fight was made, again, you had all the haters, all the trolls talk about how Dillian Whyte, Andy Ruiz, Joseph Parker, Joe Joyce, like these were all the killers.
Yeah.
Supposedly
names who could beat Dillian Whyte to me.
That Tyson Fury was supposed to fight. He fights Whyte and then just goes out there and dominates.
Exactly. And all those fighters you name, you know, based off of those performances and his last couple against Kovalev and all that, like, no. We wanted Dillian Whyte to be better than Wilder for Tyson Fury and the I'm over here stuttering. The undisputed championship. We wanted to make sure that Tyson Fury, but he just went there and put on a clinic, and we just got to admit that Dillian Whyte is not even nowhere near that level. And there's a bunch of names who I feel would put Dillian Whyte away, and I guess you could say this is a top 5 win for Fury. It's like meaning Dillian Whyte is a top 5 heavyweight, but
he's an interim WBC heavyweight champ.
But I feel like if we rank heavyweights now, we wanted Dillian Whyte to be up there just based off of, I guess, past performances, and I don't know. But I feel like now that we've seen Dillian Whyte, did Tyson Fury expose him?
No, I don't want to say he exposed him. I just think Tyson's truly the best of his era. He made the most dangerous puncher of this era look like, kind of like how he made Dillian look tonight in the second fight that they fought. So, yeah, you could say Dillian got exposed a little bit, but maybe it's Tyson. He's just that good.
I believe he is that good. I'm on board with you. I really do believe Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight of this generation. And, definitely this generation. And I don't know how long the audience members and you listeners want to define a generation, but you could easily say 20 years. Easily.
Easy.
Yeah, Tyson Fury is most definitely the best heavyweight in the past 20 years. Then that's when you start getting into the Lennox Lewis era. And if you want to throw Holyfield in there. And maybe Mike Tyson a little bit before that. And then Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and Foreman and all these guys, okay? But definitely this generation, the last 20 years of boxing, Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight. To me, it's not even debatable.
Well, no, it's not. And when you look at Tyson and you look at the top 10 opponents that he's beat, when he beat Klitschko, he took the titles. When he beat Wilder, he took a title. And then he just, again, to your word, put on a clinic against Dillian Whyte, the interim WBC heavyweight champion. So it's not just against 3 people who were in the top 10, but it's against 3 people who were champs.
Yeah, taking belts from champs.
And then you look at Anthony Joshua, because you got some people out there who like to give credit to beating fighters when they're on the top 10 at one point in their career, but not at the time that they fought. You look at Anthony Joshua, he only has 3 wins against active top 10 fighters: Povetkin, Ruiz, and Parker. And only one of those was a champ in Ruiz, and that's because Ruiz
took him from him.
Because, when he first got I believe it was the IBO or IBF?
IBF.
Okay, that was a vacant title when he first won it, and then when he fought Klitschko for the rest of the belts, those were vacated.
Right.
So it's not like he actually beat a champion to be the champ in the first place. And then, people want to say Fury's ducking Usyk. Number one, he kind of struggled against Chisora when he first came to the heavyweight division. I get it, he pieced up AJ, but AJ's, I don't know what's wrong with AJ right now. But, and then you look at, look at Deontay Wilder, he only has 2 wins against current top 10 fighters with Bermain Stevens and Luis Ortiz.
That's all good points, and that alludes to Tyson Fury's greatness through this generation and stuff. And the only fight that I could see Fury coming back for is Usyk if he dominates. I don't even have to say dominates, if he just beats Anthony Joshua. Because once he gets through that, Usyk will be a king of the heavyweight division. He will have established that AJ is below him. He is not the best in the division, and there's only one fight to be made, and that will be Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. So,
absolutely.
And as far as Dillian Whyte from here, if he wants to get his title shot back, maybe he retires realizing, maybe he doesn't, because if Tyson Fury retires or only takes the Usyk fight, he could kind of climb back into the mix of things. And I'm thinking for myself, I don't think he's beaten guys like Frank Sanchez. I'm not sure he's beaten Parker or Joe Joyce. I don't know. So there's a lot of names. If he fought Andy Ruiz next. But Andy Ruiz, we'll talk about him once a fight gets made. He's supposed to be fighting Luis Ortiz after he was announced supposed to be fighting old PED popping ass motherfucker, Tyrone Spong. But anyway,
that's a conversation for another day.
Right. We'll get to that once Andy Ruiz his ass comes around. But yeah, Tyson Fury just being the best of this generation. Dillian Whyte, I don't know where to go from here. Overrated. I can't see him beating any of the top guys in the division.
No.
So now with Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte out of the way in what I believe to be the third week of like at least an 8-week run of the run. This is the run. I keep saying it. This is the run. So next week, one of my most anticipated fights for a few reasons, and we're going to get into it. My main man, Shakur Stevenson, taking on PED sweet tea drinking having ass Oscar Valdez. Yeah, I said it.
Man, I know you
Yeah,
got this.
said
I
it.
know you got this fight circled on your
Man,
calendar.
it is circled on my calendar. That's kind of funny you said that. Because like I said, of the run, next week we got Canelo, then we got Charlo Castaño too. We'll get into more of that. But for right now, we focusing on Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez. And this is one of the ones definitely circled on my calendar for sure. Because I can't wait till Shakur Stevenson beats the sweet tea out of Oscar Valdez. And if you remember that way episodes back, I was being nice, and you kind of told me that I was changing it up. Well, you know what? No more Mr. Nice Guy. You know, like I think he says good guy on the movie. I was quoting that Child's Play. But you get my point. That's it, man. Oscar Valdez, I'm tired of it.
So
If he goes up in there and surprises me and shuts me up, then hey, so be it. That's what this sport's all about.
So, but you think it's gonna be like tonight?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
It's not gonna be close.
Now,
it's gonna be one-sided.
I would love to see Shakur Stevenson hit him with a nice uppercut, hook, whatever, one hitter quitter, but that's not the style we looking for. But to your point, domination from round 1 to 6, 1 to 7, 1 to 8, and then I hope Shakur just batters him down and breaks him down like I firmly believe he will. I'm putting all my eggs in one basket on this one.
I mean, I can't really say anything because I mean, I got the same prediction. You know, I'm putting all my eggs on Shakur. I don't think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be a complete ass whooping. Like it's gonna be like tonight. You know, we're gonna get back-to-back weeks of an ass whooping.
Clinics. Sweet science. I mean, you know, that's what Tyson Fury brought. That's what Shakur Stevenson brings. Light on their feet. Good. Hey, you know what? One thing we didn't really mention real quick is Tyson Fury's defense on a few of those. Like, the way he was moving, he was dodging some shots.
It's unfair.
It is.
I mean, he's damn near 7 feet tall.
And the head movement's crazy.
Weighs almost 300 pounds, but the dude moves like he's 170.
Right. And Shakur Stevenson, the best defensive tactician in boxing. We've said it numerous times. Statistically gets hit less than Floyd in the ring. Now, Shakur Stevenson, over the course of his next couple years, is going to step up competition, fight better fighters who can land more shots. We get that. But I'm just alluding to the point right now that Shakur Stevenson's defense is
next level
and is the standard right now in boxing. Like, he has the best defense. And Oscar Valdez, who had trouble against Robinson Conceição, is going to dismantle Shakur Stevenson? On what planet? I'm standing by this. Championship boxing on the line. I just can't see it.
So you're calling for a masterclass.
I'm calling for people putting Shakur Stevenson on their pound for pound list high in a spot that I already got him in.
I mean, I already got him number 4 on my list.
That's where we talking, because I already had him top 5 right after the Herring. And people are going to say, hey, he ain't got the resume. You know, it's only Herring. But again, if you watch the sport and you follow it on the championship level, then you know that even in the past fights, how fighters come back with bringing it up. Nakatila versus Burchell. Nakatila went in and showed why he is the exact fighter that Shakur said he was, and had to fight him a certain way. So it shows the IQ level he has.
Hey, no disagreement. Dude is the best under 140, period.
Yeah.
I think when he's done murking,
best under 147 to me.
When he's done murking Valdez, I think he's gonna go right to 135. And he's gonna start his run, ironically.
The run. This is the run.
He's gonna start a run and show why he's the best at 135.
Yeah. And with Kambosos and Haney coming up, and you know, we got a lot of storylines coming up over the next couple months. And if boxing continues to keep going in this direction with stuff like the run, then we're going to get a lot of things sorted out. We will. Things will come to fruition, fights will get made, and things will get sorted out, and a lot of things will change. So Haney won't necessarily be at 135 when Shakur gets there. So again, they may not be players in the same division. So Shakur is going to have to fight other fighters and take over that division. There's a lot of storyline that can unfold between now and when these events happen. So
just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, and the ESPN card coming up on April 30th. Can't wait. On regular ESPN. I like this right now. Eventually, Shakur's talked about it. He knows he's probably going to be a big pay-per-view star. Everybody, we'll talk about Errol Spence and potentially his pay-per-view numbers flopping. I don't know. Is the pay-per-view model dead in boxing? I mean, UFC apparently is doing comfortable pay-per-view numbers to not bring up the topic, but apparently boxing's pay-per-view model is dead.
And that's with a lot of their big stars.
A lot of the big stars. Tank doesn't always perform. Early on, he was doing well. Numbers are starting to go down.
So this is what I heard. Nothing's official.
Word on the streets.
Word on the street.
Rumor has it.
Errol did like $500K with Ugis. And then I look up the UFC numbers from this past card, 273, with Volkanovski, Kazmat,
and
Petorian, and Aljamain Sterling. They did like $600K.
Did he for real? Damn. And here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you something. Now, I don't know if you heard.
Now, again, I don't know if that's true. That is the word on the street.
Right, because apparently, they don't release pay-per-view numbers and all that. We done heard all that bullshit. So we don't know what's true. We don't know what's good, what's not, what's, essentially if the numbers are inflated, deflated, whatever. We just know that for some reason when numbers are good, they are not afraid to be let that shit be known. But then when numbers are not so good, that's when you hear the mumbo jumbo bullshit talking about, oh, we don't release numbers and it's detrimental to business and blah 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 blah. We don't want to hear that. But you just mentioned something. You heard 500K. Okay. Now I believe I know where that originated from, and that's bogus as shit. And the source who put that out there admitted that was bogus as shit. Okay. And then source had it that it was around 240ish. Then I'm hearing a second, or in this case a third, that it didn't even crack 200, and it's somewhere in the 150, low 100,000 range. So
that's not helping his case.
We don't know, but no, the numbers keep dwindling. It wasn't 500K, and it's like no 607. No, complete opposite, falling off the edge. And right now, if Errol Spence and them is only showing out to do 100K, that's not looking good for the pay-per-view model. But I tell you what, this is why, and you ultimately know why. You had Ugis, Spence, $70. $75. It was $75. Us, you just pay for it, get out the way. Then all of a sudden you had Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte, 2 week span, back to back pay-per-views. Then we got a break with Shakur on regular ESPN. Then all of a sudden you coming right back with Canelo on DAZN pay-per-view. This new shit. So to be a boxing fan, you're looking at $225. And then Tank's coming up on fucking pay-per-view. $300 to be a boxing fan from April 16th to May 28th. Wow. And they want to know why you don't have that many fucking fans.
Right.
Wow. Put that in perspective. 300 bones to be a boxing fan to watch 4 fights. I mean, it's and then when you're a combat sports fan, you got the UFC too. So
I mean, when you look at the UFC though, like last week was a fight night, tonight's a fight night, and then I think next week is another fight night, and then they're gonna have the next big pay-per-view. So like Dana does a good job spacing it out, where he's not completely crippling his fan base, his audience.
Yeah.
And then you got these promoters coming out doing, a big pay-per-view one after the other, and you said, you gotta have like $300-400 shaved up.
So you have the competing promotions, just like you said. So PBC might only be putting on one pay-per-view every so often, but then you have Top Rank doing the same thing. Now you got DAZN in the mix doing it with Canelo. Wherever Canelo goes, he's gonna bring that pay-per-view model. And then now you got Tank, who Uncle Leo is making him out to be a big pay-per-view star. Like, he can't not be on pay-per-view. Jake Paul's gonna come around the fucking corner. He's gonna be on pay-per-view. And they honestly want to know why.
Well, and not just that, but like, there's a lot of fights also that don't deserve to be pay-per-view.
Plenty. But then they wonder why they shooting themselves in the foot with these low sales.
I mean, you know, like I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't really think boxing is dead per se.
No, not at all.
I just think a lot of the promotions,
the model, it's what
they
they're
shoot
doing.
themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I believe it's what they're doing, you know? So I hope Shakur solidifies that spot. I'm predicting him to perform huge, and I can't wait for that one. That one's circled on my calendar. Then, now you got arguably the greatest women's fight to come up thus far in boxing. And then you got Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. First female fight to ever headline Madison Square Garden. Shout out for the umpteenth time to my man Eddie P. Diddy Hearn and Jake Paul, MVP Promotion. Shout out, baby.
Hey, they're getting it done.
They are getting it done. That's why you can't hate.
You know, I think
women setting an example in the boxing world. Ain't that some shit?
I think Al Heyman and Bob Arum, those two, Frank Warren too, because, I mean, damn, this undercard tonight fucking sucked. It was not that good.
No, it wasn't. And
So,
maybe
it
had to do with the purse money.
I think that too, but I think a lot of these older promoters can kind of take a play from Jake Paul and Eddie Hearn, and
yeah, and I'm assuming it has everything to do with that. Amanda Serrano has pointed out how, you know, Jake Paul has been lucratively financial and willing to give fair compensation. It's on record. He's you know, it's no shy. He's talking about how he wants to change pay in the boxing world too, on top of change pay in the UFC. It's a hot topic he's been on. So shout out to my man Jake Paul for getting that done. But can't wait for that one. That's gonna be a banger. We got my girl Sky Nicholson on there. Oh, I can't wait for her. She got that sweet science. She's a young rookie. And you got Ammo Williams coming back. My dog Austin Williams. I fucks with Ammo. I do. I think he's a young up-and-comer who's got the talent and could very well be a player in the game in his division 2 years from now. 2 years from now.
bro,
He's one of Matchroom's guys who's got good talent right now. And, you know...
Bro, this is like just ham sandwich after ham sandwich. I mean, damn. What a way to start the run.
Well, the run's already started.
I mean,
The run's been going on since the 9th.
I don't see it ending anytime soon.
No, it's not. Right now, it's at the moment that it keeps hopefully it keeps getting extended as we keep going throughout the run. But right now, we well into June. We into June with big fights. And then if we get Anthony Joshua Usyk 2 off the heels of that, we could be into August. There's a lot of great things going on for boxing, and they just need to watch it with the pay-per-views. I mean, that's essentially what I think needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
The pay-per-views themselves need to be not so into it so often, because now it's expensive to be a combat sports fan. It's not cheap.
I was gonna say, when you have the fights planned and shit like that, you know,
that matters.
Again, not every fight is worthy to be pay-per-view.
Not at all.
So I think they need to, you know, lay off some of these fights.
Yeah.
Like, we know who deserves to be a, you know, top pay-per-view.
Yep.
75. Like,
We know it.
like a Tyson Fury, Spence versus Crawford. You know, like you said,
Yeah.
we got lucky with Shakur. Like, there's other big fights coming up that warrant pay-per-view.
Yeah. Or better yet, just they really, like, you know, not saying DAZN is the greatest or doing it perfect by any means, but the subscription-based service, I believe, would be so beneficial to a combat sports world and to anything, really. Because if you're providing great content for a level price, then essentially people are going to hop on board. That's what's going to happen. So,
well, I mean, ESPN does the same thing.
yeah, I know, but kudos for Top Rank for putting a lot of great fights on regular ESPN too. So I like that. PBC has kind of gotten away from putting great fights on Fox and FS1, and they've resorted to Showtime, which is really a subscription, and then pay-per-view. So that is what it is. It's not early prediction. It's here. Gotta come with it. I'm going Amanda Serrano. I think she'll tough it out. I can see her being a little bit more active. Hopefully she goes to the body. Katie Taylor's gonna be no walk in the park by no means, Sereno. But my prediction, I think it goes a distance. I don't think either one of them. I think it's just gonna be a tough scrap. You're gonna get some flush shots. I don't see either one of them getting the stoppage on either one or getting a knockout. And you know something else I found out besides, how the first three don't count. You know what else I found out?
What's that?
I found out that it's not a knockout if you get up and the ref stops it. So, with that being said, Tyson Fury didn't knock out Dillian Whyte, folks. You asking me why? Is because Dillian Whyte got up before 10 and the ref waved his arms after he was wobbled. So yeah, that's not a knockout. Just letting y'all know. Y'all can't see the body language right now, but the sarcasm's going through the roof right now. That bullshit, first three don't count. That ain't a knockout. That's just funny. That is just funny. But anyway, I don't see either one of them getting a knockout or the stoppage. I really do think it's going to go the distance. And I got Amanda Serrano in a close split decision. That's my official prediction.
I think it's going to be Amanda Serrano, 12th round TKO.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? All right.
Really?
Okay. Like I said, I really feel like it's gonna be a great fight, and it's a can't miss. Shakur Stevenson even tweeted out talking about how he hope his fight offsets with it so he doesn't miss the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight. Arguably the biggest fight in women's boxing. And right now we on the heels of another one, Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields. But at the moment right now, this is it. This is it. So that's going to be a great fight.
No, it's going to be an amazing fight.
So since we're in the midst of the run, get a little reflection going on back, I could tell you what, man, I'm getting a lot of positive vibes about Errol Spence and Bud Crawford coming up. I just wanted to point that out.
So is it? It's actually happening.
I don't fucking know. How the fuck am I supposed to know? I don't fucking know.
I mean, we've been here before.
I'm gonna find out when you find out, Playboy. I'm just saying that my vibes have been more positive than ever. And hey, I'm kudos for Errol Spence making us fucking wait. Wait till he got all the belts on his side of the street. Kudos, he got them, and he's doing exactly what I had hoped he would do. Use Bud's name specifically. Not beat around the bush, say I want the 4th belt and all that nonsense. Nah, use TC Bud Crawford specifically, and he's been doing that. All on social media, all in the videos. It's funny.
It's about time. Took him long enough.
I get
5 fucking years.
Hey, like he said, he was waiting to collect his belts on his side of the street. He's doing it now.
Bullshit.
So the hype.
Bullshit.
Hey, call it bullshit if you want, but the moment has arrived that he said would arrive, and he's making it happen. Calling out name by name.
They both want the fight, so there shouldn't be no excuse.
Shouldn't be no excuse. And then I'm hearing positive reports too about how I believe Errol Spence made some comments saying that the fight was already kind of, getting pre-worked out. Nah, you could take that for what it is. Essentially, all that's saying, if Errol Spence is saying that, all that's saying to me is that, we were already preparing for the Bud fight and the Ugas fight hasn't even happened yet. Okay. So you knew you was confident in yourself and that was a short thing. Okay, I get it. Cool. Kudos.
Look, if there was ever a time for the fight to actually happen, to come to fruition,
it's now.
It's now.
It's now. And
if not now, then it's literally, definitely, permanent, whatever word you can think of, it's not going to happen.
Right. And, you hear a lot of reports about some of these sanctioning bodies getting ready. Perhaps they mandatory. After this fight, they've altered some of the rankings. And, they're gonna alter the rankings how they see fit. And we see a lot of patterns in the WBC rankings that just, we could see it coming from 6 months away. Okay? Now, if they do anything to interrupt this, oh my goodness. The first sanctioning body that demands a mandatory ain't shit.
Your mom's a hoe.
Getting drugged through the mud. May God have mercy on your soul if somebody mandates a fighter to step in between Bud and Spence making this fight.
It's gonna happen.
It best not happen for the sake of boxing. Oh my goodness.
Well, it's gonna best happen.
No, and like I said, the positive vibes that I'm getting, I believe it's finally upon us. We just got to keep these positive vibes going, and everybody just got to push it, will it into existence. So, can't wait for that one. Love to reflect on that one. So let's move forward into the run a little bit more. We got Canelo coming up the week after Shakur and Amanda Serrano. What a run we are having. And Canelo to step up to 175 and fight Bivol is
arguably the best at light heavyweight.
Yeah, definitely arguably the best at light heavyweight. Many of the experts, and myself included, believe Dimitri Bivol is the best light heavyweight. Now, will that change?
Bro, we all know the real
May
reason why he took the fight. He didn't want Boo Boo and Charlo.
No,
why you capping? Why you capping?
We know he's
Canelo didn't want Boo Boo or Charlo.
No, he doesn't want black American fighters. Apparently, that's on record that Canelo doesn't want black American fighters. After what Floyd did to him, he's traumatized. The sweet science got to him, and apparently, Charlo and Dimitri Andre Boo Boo offered too much of that sweet science for Canelo. Apparently,
that's the reason why they.
That's what word on the street is. That's what word on the street.
Don't forget, he doesn't want Benavidez either.
Ginger told me. That's what word on the street is. So, but again, is that going to change after May 7th? Will Canelo be the best light heavyweight after May 7th? Or does he still have to prove himself against the winner of Better Biev and Joe Smith Jr.?
It'll have to be the winner with Better Biev and Joe Smith Jr.
Which also is upon us in the midst of this run. And goodness.
In other words, it'll be less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Maybe, almost 3, maybe less 2 years, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Basically, Canelo unifies another division.
That's it. And this, hopefully, if he finishes the run, not only unified, but ultimately be the undisputed. All four, not just unified. Take it one step further. And that'll be on some next level shit. And then the week after that, just to bring it up, you got Zurdo Ramirez back. Another top dog at 175, Mexican fighter, similar to a Benavidez. Big guy comes forward. They think Canelo's ducking him, just a bigger guy. So
everybody's ducking.
Canelo's ducking everybody.
Canelo's ducking everybody.
Right.
I mean, he can't take every fight. If he did, he's booked till he's 39 years old.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't be fair to them. Wouldn't be fair to us. You wouldn't put Jack Dempsey in the ring with a middleweight, would you? Right. So again and again and again, the run is upon us. So there's a lot of great fights coming up between now and then. Then once again, you got Canelo going up another UFC card, and I bet Dana White is going to be watching on his TV once again. He ain't missing a Canelo fight. Dana White ain't missing a Canelo fight.
No, last time he bet like $100K on Canelo.
Right. Sure money. In this case, it ain't so sure. Dimitri Bivol, to me, is a big step up in class from Caleb Plant. So much respect on that. But like I said, with Canelo doing as many pay-per-views as he did last time, and this time you got him going up against another UFC card. We'll see where boxing's at with that. If even Canelo could drag the numbers up. But I think it's fine. I find it funny. Dana White probably will be caught with a television watching Canelo.
Probably.
But
I still
UFC,
think he bets money on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He probably will. And UFC 274, you got
that's another loaded card.
Who's that?
So for the main event, you got Charles Oliveira defending his 155 strap against Justin Gaethje,
who earned that shot after the Michael Chandler fight, right? He hasn't fought since, right? Because that was a motherfucking scrap. Holy shit. I remember us talking, getting out of, we was on our feet the whole fight.
That was fight of the year.
Hands down.
Without question, without a doubt. And then the co-main event is
Doug Rose.
That's who's Justin Gaethje's teammate at their gym.
Iron's gonna sharpen iron.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I like some Doug Rose.
You got Doug Rose coming back, and then you got Michael Chandler going up against Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a fight with some pop.
Oh yeah, a lot of championship bouts coming up. Championship boxing, championship MMA. That's what we here for in totality. So before we get out of here, make sure y'all catch up on the UFC fight nights. Bellator 278 last night, 279 tonight in Hawaii. Championship boxing and MMA is here. Neither one of them's dead. That's why we here in the building. So once again, I've been your boy AG.
I'm your boy DB.
So holla.